Ladies and gentlemen, I need y'all to put y'all's hands together, get loud, get proud for Mr. Danny Trejo!
Machete, 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 machete.
So good to see you. Yes! I love it, I love it. Sir, how are we doing this weekend?
Great. I love Philadelphia.
Yes, indeed.
It's been fun. I got lost last night.
Oh.
Police here are very friendly.
They better be dealing with Machete. They know better. Like, sir, you're gonna. Never mind. Now I'm just gonna get this out of the way because a guest asked. Yeah, no, don't hide your face now. Now all of a sudden you want to be shot. No.
It's
Now,
okay.
I would never ask you to strip down and show off your tattoos. But this young lady right here wanted to know if you would. Now, if you say no, then he says no. Now, if he decides in the midst of this conversation, take his shirt off, puts around his hand like a helicopter, that's his. But I'm just letting you know, that's her request. Okay. Okay, later. Boom. Okay. So David, thank you so very much for being here over the weekend. It's been a great show for everyone. Has it been a good show for you?
Great.
I love it.
Absolutely wonderful. The people have been great. And food's good.
Yes.
I own restaurants and the food here is good.
That's what I'm talking about. That's how you know it's good. Yesterday we celebrated Star Wars Day. It's May the 4th yesterday. I think, personally, that the one thing that Star Wars needs, that it just needs to have more than anything, is Machete. If Machete was in the Star Wars universe, what side would he be on?
I was the Rain Corps keeper.
Yes, he was.
That was cool. I know, I'm telling Rosario Dawson, hey, all right, let's go.
Hey! That's
Start riding the Rain Corps.
That would be amazing. Would you, as a character actor, would you like to be more on the dark side or the light side in the Star Wars universe? What would you like to do?
God, that must sound so. What are we talking about? Check-wise.
Because see, honestly, I think the dark side offers more money, but more problems. So, I don't know, like...
Yeah. Problems all day long.
But the check will clear. The check will clear. That's the thing.
The check will clear everything.
Okay, I mean, there it is. There we go. Darth Machete, y'all. Like, that's... Come on. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so, but today is a special holiday. It's Cinco de Mayo. Do you actively celebrate Cinco de Mayo?
Yeah, I used to. Cinco de Mayo, everybody thinks it means 5th of May. But the reality for Mexicans, real Mexicans, it means you better have bail money. Because it's funny, it's like, a lot of people don't know the history.
That's right.
They Cinco de Mayo, yeah, Mexican independence. No, it wasn't. We won a battle of Puebla. That's right. And it was like a little town that Mexicans finally beat Spain at something. And we celebrated. And we haven't stopped celebrating.
That's that spirit right there.
God, Cinco de Mayo, like the worst. I mean, in fact, to show you how far it goes, 1968, Cinco de Mayo, I was in Soledad State Prison. And everybody knows it means get bail money. Well, what do you do when you're already in prison? You have a riot. And me and Ray Pacheco and Henry Quijada went to the hole with gas chamber offensive.
Wow.
Ray ruptured a coach. Coach Strongmeyer, that was his name. No, that was Henry. Ray socked a free person. That's a gas chamber offense. It was alleged that I threw a rock and hit Lieutenant.
You wouldn't do that. Would not do that.
Yeah, it was alleged.
Yeah.
And, all of a sudden, we're in the hole, and Henry said, "Hey, Danny, you were right." I said, "About what?" "About Cinco de Mayo." "Shut up, fool. You're gonna kill us."
You're telling us. What are you doing?
Thought kind of hit me. You know, they might. And by the grace of God, I remember saying, "You know what, if you let me die with dignity, Lord, I'll say your name every day, and I'll do whatever I can for my fellow inmate." I said inmate because I knew no matter what, I wasn't getting out of prison.
I'm glad you were wrong about that, actually. Make some noise for Danny Trejo. And you've got some things, I'm going to ask some questions, and I'm going to let you guys line up. One of the things I definitely want to take note of is, again, in your journey, you've definitely celebrated your sobriety, and I think that it is something that we should constantly and consistently celebrate along with you.
We're talking about the biggest problem right now. People don't understand, but the biggest problem right now is there are governments right now that are just sending so many drugs to Mexico, and then Mexico's bringing them up here because that's what they do, right? You know, and every civilization that has fallen, if you look at history, has fallen behind drugs and alcohol.
It's true. It's absolutely
And
true.
it is getting more and more and more. You know, and right now, fentanyl, they're putting fentanyl in everything.
Right.
And it's killing people.
That's right.
I'm killing like junior high school kids right now.
It's awesome. It's awesome. But again, all the more reason that we celebrate you in your sobriety journey and how you are such an icon for others that are on their journey and the way that you help. So again, thank you very, very much for that. One more time, make some noise.
Okay, when did you know you wanted to act professionally, and what was your big break that got you film?
This is a great story. When was it that you got your first big break in acting, that you knew that this is what you wanted to do?
You know what? The first movie I did was a movie called Runaway Train. And it was an accident, really, because this kid that I was working with, trying to keep him clean, he was a drug addict, he had signed me up for to be an extra. And he called me at 11:30 at night and said, "Hey, Danny, you know what, there's a lot of blow down here on my job. Do you come hang out?" Yeah, I went down to hang out with him. I went down, and it was a movie set of a movie called Runaway Train. John Boyd and Harry Roberts. And I walked on there, and the minute I walked on there, this guy I found out was the AD. I didn't know. He says, "Hey, you want to be in this movie?" "What do I gotta do?" "You want to be an extra?" I said, "Extra what?" He says, "Can you act like a convict?" Solid Cat, San Quentin, Folsom, shot. Off my shirt, and I got that big old tattoo, right? And I'll never forget, he goes like this, he goes. I'm wondering, what stupid gang is this guy from? Squareville. And he says, "Leave your shirt off." So I was standing there without a shirt. Now they're gonna give me $50 for acting like a convict, right? I'm standing there, this guy's looking at me, he keeps it, starts walking over towards me, "You're Danny Trejo." "Yeah." "Danny, I saw you win the lightweight and the welterweight title up in San Quentin." I said, "You're Eddie Bunker." I knew this guy. Me and my uncle bought a robbery from this guy in 1962. And then he was in Quentin when I was there, and he would bet, get people to bet on fights. Dumbest thing, we would have exhibitions. But the exhibition is like, there's not a winner, not a loser. Only the Mexicans don't understand what the hell an exhibition is. They got 9 Mexicans. "Hey, we got money on you, home. We got money." "What is an exhibition?" "No, we got money, home." So you either have to tell the guy you're fighting, "Look, go over what you know or surprise him, try to knock him out. But Eddie says, hey, what are you doing? I said, I'm here, talking to this kid that wants to stay clean. And he said, you know what we need? We need somebody to teach one of the actors how to fight, how to box. And I said, what's it pay? And he said, $320 a day. I said, I bet you want to Skype in up. I wasn't making, I was a drug counselor. I was making $150 a week and before taxes.
Right, that's right. 320 a day, let's go.
And so, come on. It's a good thing he said. He said, no, you gotta be careful. This actor is really high strung. He might sock you. I said, honey, for $320, give him a stick. I'll beat up for free, honey. I started training Eric Roberts how to box. And Eric had just finished up a movie, the best in some karate movie.
Yes.
The problem with actors is if they do one karate movie, all of a sudden they're quite Chan-K. And so I started training this kid, and he would listen because he was scared. And it was a trip that like we got along, and so Andrei Kozlowski, the director, who this was his first American movie, he was a Russian. He would see that, and he would call me, go get Eric. I'd go get him and we'd do work, and then we'd work out. And so it worked out really good, and then that's how actually Andrei Kozlowski came up to me and said, you be in movies. I was the trainer, I wasn't SAG, nothing. You be in a movie, and you fight Eric in a movie. And then he gets my face like this, and he goes, and he walks away. And look, Eddie, I'm gonna train the kid for $320, but if I'm gonna be kissing that old man, he's European. I don't care what he is. I know how that little pet goes, and let it run on my neck and shit. No. So if I would have known what that old man did by giving me that SAG card, I'd have washed his back. I couldn't believe it, and my whole life changed. I started going from movie to movie to movie, and I was bad guy, mean guy, Mexican guy, mean Mexican guy. Tattoo, mean Mexican guy. Right. It was like, but every time I got 320. You know, so I was banking it. I remember the first time I got, what do you call it? Interviewed.
Yeah.
Some young girl fresh out of interview school. She said, Danny, don't you feel you're being typecast? And I said, what do you mean? She said, well, you're always playing the mean Chicano dude with tattoos. Lady, I am the about being typecast. Every actor in Hollywood is typecast.
That's right.
What's his name? The pretty guys. Tom. Tom is typecast as the leading man.
That's right.
You're not going to get him to say, oh, would you do this little part? It's only scale. No. 8 million. All of them. They're all, that's what we do.
Right.
Ben, I used to crack up with Ben Affleck. Ooh. And I work with all of them. You know,
I love it.
Let me tell you the really sweethearts. I did a movie called Heat, all right? Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Val Kilmer, Ty Simon, Bram, all the heavies, right? And the nicest guys in the world. Michael Mann does like 8 takes for everything. I pride myself 3, and now wait a minute, what's wrong? You know, and he got me on about 6, and I'm like, what? He goes, Trejo did 10, all right? Sorry.
What was your reaction when you found out you were cast as the Rancor trainer in Book of Boba Fett?
Excellent. No, I got you. What was your reaction like when you were cast as the Rancor trainer in Book of Boba Fett?
Well, you know what? First of all, I didn't know what a Rancor was. And secondly, I had never really paid attention to Star Wars after like the TV series. I mean, you know, I watched one because I work. I've been home 3 days in about 4 months.
Wow.
You know, and I move on. And so when I got cast, I went there, and my son went with me. And my son said, "Dad, hey, this is like bigger than sliced bread, homie." Yeah, Star Wars, no.
Yeah.
Well, I got on that set. I was like a kid. Wow. Rancor breathe. You know, it's all the. I got to see the little $2 million green guy.
Yep.
And it was just amazing, even for me, you know. And I've been around movies since 1985.
Right.
But to watch where we are going as an industry, unbelievable.
That's awesome.
Is there, from your past, was there any moment that like that when you knew like the path that you were chosen, like as like from where you're growing up and all that this was not the life that you wanted to live and that you needed to do better like for yourself?
Oh wow, that's a very good question. It's a very personal one. Considering that there was some trouble that you had growing up, what was it that was that pivotal moment where you go, I don't want to be this anymore?
1968. Thinking me and Ray Pacheco and Henry Guijarro were going to the gas station. That was like kind of a rude awakening. And it's like, especially if like from the 4th grade, teachers were always telling you, you have a lot of potential. You have a lot of potential, Daddy. Man, but you can't sit still. And then, then junior high school, you have a lot of potential, but you keep fighting. So I kept screwing up. And it's funny, and I'm not making no excuses, but now, but 10 years ago, I started working with autistic children. I realized that everybody in that classroom, that they put me in a classroom called social adjustment in 1957, because there was me, Malcolm Armendariz, Gary Hale. There was like, I get the memory from it.
That's all
There
good.
was about 5 of us in this class. Then by the end of the month, there was about, and they were all the bad kids. And I realized there wasn't we all were on that spectrum somewhere, but there was nobody knew what they were.
Right.
But it's like now, the kids that were pacing back and forth, and Theo, the damn genius, Theo got he applied to 10 universities, got accepted to 8.
Wow.
He's going to one in Ohio. I don't know.
Hi-yo!
Yeah, but and so I mean, so it's like we've been on a path to like let people know. Wait a minute, man. Some of these kids ain't bad.
Right.
Some of these kids ain't bad. Some of these kids are like, wait a minute. Sam. I got Sam. Okay. Sam is about 6'4", 240, right? Big kid, but doesn't like to be touched. I love touching him. I'll put my arms around him and he'll like, but I was so afraid of him walking down the streets and cops stopping him and trying to talk to him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so it's like we helped him, right? I mean, Theo is brilliant, genius, right? Sam is so smart, he don't want you to know it. All he wants to do is wash dogs. So you gotta you can't look at kids just by good, bad. You can't. And it's my kid's mom, right? She works, she's an attorney now, because she had 2 autistic children after we had split up 30 years ago, and it was kind of going nuts. You know, because one, it's like you quit work, and so my son was trying to support her, and you know, he was going nuts. So we took the boys into my house because there's always people at my house, you know. So we watch them, take them to school. Right now they're doing pretty good.
That's awesome.
But it's a whole kind of, what do you call it, community kind of thing. It's not like, you know, one parent can do this.
It takes a village.
It takes, and it does take a village as far as working with kids. And the schools say, screw you.
Right.
You know, I mean, I have nothing against the schools, but they're useless for special needs children.
That's right. Make some noise for that.
What's it like working with Robert Rodriguez?
What's it like working with Robert Rodriguez? That's a funny story too with you.
I'm mad at him right now. I want you all to hashtag Robert Rodriguez and tell him, let's do Machete 3. Stop being scared.
That's a good one. Can you tell us about when you found out your relation to Robert?
Yeah, I was, well, I cast for Machete. I know for, the first one. Desperado.
Yes.
In Venice. I walked into his office and he says, damn, you look like the bad guys in my high school. I am the bad guys. And we talked and he just gave me a knife and says, work with that. And then my agent said, hey, you got that role. So then I went to Del Rio, Texas. From Del Rio, we went to Acuña, Mexico, and that's where we were working. Everybody thought like I was the lead because nobody knew Antonio Banderas, you know what I mean? And Spanish, they're a little standoffish. That's not being racist or nothing, but it's like they're not like Mexican. Hey, what's up? See, como no? And so everybody's coming up to me, you know, and autographs and pictures and tattoos, and Robert says, "Hey, they think you're the star of the movie." But you mean I'm not? And so my uncle and aunt and all my relatives came down from San Antonio to see me, right? The border, and my uncle goes, "Hey, who's that then?" I said, "That's Robert Rodriguez, the director." Now my uncle has no idea about music, about movie etiquette. And he does that. He knew all the gangsters in San Antonio. And Robert, being a young Mexican, and they start talking, and all of a sudden my uncle, "Hey, Daddy, say hello to your cousin." I got my pen and said, "I'm going to write my part." And so, you know, that was our first, we did about 12 movies together.
Yeah.
My question is that as an actor yourself and every project that you've had up until this point, has any of those parts ever taken a psychological toll on you?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Has any of your acting parts like you? Like, very important space time. It's Robert. Like he's Great. All right. Machete don't text. Okay. Has any of your roles taken like a psychological toll on you? I mean, playing some of these tough guys, is there sometimes where you go home, you're like, that was kind of rough?
I think the only role that I ever had any kind of trouble, my son, Gilbert,
Sorry.
I was thinking, my son Gilbert's a director now. He wrote a film called From a Son. And it's about a drug addict kid that goes out and overdoses and dies. And he's the son, I'm the dad. Okay, now my son was a drug addict, right? And a friend of mine saved his life. But in this movie, as he's dying, my mom always used to say, when something happened to me on the streets, she would just wake up. For some reason, she would know something was wrong. She'd get up and start doing something in the kitchen or something and wait till I got home. And usually it was stitches or something, you know, wreck my car. And so after he's using, you see him going down for the overdose, and you see me waking up. It's an amazing shot. You know, you get that? I used to hear grandma talk.
Wow.
And I said, wow. And so in this movie, he dies, and his little girlfriend, I capture, right? And I threaten her life if she doesn't show me where he is, and we become friends. She starts taking me to where she buried him, you know, and we're out in the desert, and it's freezing cold, and I'm supposed to cry in this, you know, and you know, I would do the John Wayne.
That's right, that's right.
Okay. It's all right, that kind of. But all week, my son was showing me baby pictures. Remember that? Remember this one? And, oh yeah, we were in the pool and all these little. And so when it came time to the scene, it's late at night, it's cold, and I had to give Sasha my jacket because she was cold, and we're like walking in, and I asked her, did you kill this? Right? She goes, no, he was my only friend, he protected me. Bah! She started, I lost it. That little shit, I swear to God. No, you don't know. I was a man to you, what the hell? This was the booger cry, okay? There was nothing manly about this. I was trying to hold boogers and couldn't stop. And finally, when my dumb son said, cut, the whole crew was crying. Oh my God. And I'm going to beat your ass. I'm going to beat your ass. But we laughed about it, but I think I got a cleansing there. Of course. You know, some kind of, because I didn't cry my mom, my dad, I just, like, you had to keep things together. Right. You know, and wow. That was a tough one.
Great question, great question.
Another one was Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Oh.
No, wait. There's a movie called, what the hell?
Is it Cherry Baby? Is that what you said?
I think it's
Cherry Baby.
Yeah.
Cherry Baby.
And I worked with a brother, right? And God, we had a lot of fun. He said, did you really try to kiss my brother? And I said, well, he kept asking me, what would happen to me if I went to prison? I snatched her. He sure didn't look like that buffed up guy that he played with. But anyway, so she is a drug addict going out. I'm like in the program, helping her and stuff, and we're friends, and then she's out like 2 weeks, lost, comes back dirty, you know, used, abused, and I'm supposed to put her in the bathtub and give her a bath, right? And while I was doing it, Lori called her in that direction. Cut! What's wrong? Danny, you look like an old lech. You want me washing her cheeks? What are you, crazy? And so we took a walk, and I think that's the first time that I ever had to like think about, you know, what do you do if your daughter comes home like that?
Right.
And I said, don't go there, And then afterwards we did it all right. And she said, yeah, cool. That's awesome. I think those two things were, and I've been doing this since 1985.
That's right.
But I think those two things were like the hardest things I've ever done. And I would rather be like the bad guy shoot killer, you know? Because, you're gonna die, but then you can go on to another movie and make more money.
Well said, very well said.
If you going to do Ducks to Dawn, the remake, can you make it as a villain again or not as a villain again?
Which one is a remake?
The Ducks to Dawn movie.
From Dusk to Dawn? Okay, so from Dusk to Dawn, if there's a remake, would you still want to be one of the bad guys?
I don't know how much worse bad you can get.
I mean, you were
But,
pretty tough.
We did Dusk to Dawn, we did 3 of them.
Right.
And, I don't know how much better you can get than a vampire. Right.
That's right, that's right. You were brutal too in that one. I loved you in that
I
one.
love that. I was the best vampire there was.
Your experience with working with like Mr. Seagal and how it was working with like.
So working with Steven Seagal.
Nah,
What?
I'm the only guy that killed Steven Seagal.
Very true, very, very true.
I ran into him, he called me, hey Danny, do you think there's anything for me in Machete? And I don't know, I'll talk to Robert, and I seen Robert. Robert, Seagal wants to know if there's anything in it. Let's kill him. And so, I'm the only guy that killed Steven Seagal.
That is for real. Make some noise for that.
What has been your favorite role to play thus far? I loved you in Bubble Boy.
Love you and Bubble Boy. What's been your favorite role to play so far?
I love Spy Kids. Look, mommy, the man from Spy Kids in 50 different languages. And then you're like, Machete, that was the lead role, and Machete killed, and now we got to like just keep hashtagging Robert Rodriguez.
That's right.
Kill Martian or something. And he like pushed my stock up.
Absolute classic. Absolute classic.
And the funny thing about Heat is when I walked on I had done a film with Michael Mann real early in my career. It was called the Camarena Drug Wars. And Michael Mann gave me a compliment, man. He said, damn, that was award-winning shit, man. Give me an award. And then I didn't see it for a long time. When I showed up on Heat, he had done a movie called The Jericho Mile, and he did it in Folsom. Now, African Americans came out, they worked on the movie, and the Caucasians came out, they worked on the movie. No Mexicans. And so Michael Mann said, hey, what's up? I need Mexicans. They have a union. It's called the Mafia.
It is what it is.
And so you got to talk to the guys, and so one of the guys was my uncle Gilbert, and him and Michael Mann made friends, they became friends, and Michael Mann won't admit it, but he paid my uncle's scale while they were shooting that movie. And so when I showed up, he goes, Gilbert, I go, not me, Danny. Oh man, what's up? And we started talking, and you remember Gilbert died, that he just got out of prison, and old habits die hard.
Of course, of course.
So anyway, he OD'd, and I told Mike, oh man, and I gave him a picture of Gilbert and the powers that be, and he goes, oh yeah, well just don't let the DA get it. And he kept changing my name in the script. But every time they change the name, it's a brand new script. So about 3 times, and finally he says, hey, would you mind if I call you Gilbert Trejo? So in the movie, it's Gilbert Trejo played by Danny Trejo,
Yeah.
you know, so, and Michael Mann, that was a homage to my uncle.
Absolutely.
I think, what was the question?
No.
Filming Blood In, Blood Out, the violence in the movie, was it as realistic as when you were inside?
Was the movie Blood In and Blood Out, was the violence in it as real as when you were actually in jail?
Worse, I mean, you got people dying all the time, and the biggest problem with prison is that kind of violence, is that you don't know, you know, you've got so many mental health problems in prison that all of a sudden, this guy just wants to start killing people, just stab him, you know. I don't know, there's some people, 10% of the people in prison belong in prison.
Right.
The rest of it can be dealt in hospitals, in classes, and.
Makes me noise for that, yeah, that's great. Yes or no question?
It is a yes or no. Danny, a lot of people know that you have a contract clause, so when you're a bad guy, you have to be killed at the end because crime doesn't pay. Do you have any similar sort of clause for like if you play a good guy?
Do you have a clause that if you play a good guy, that you have to survive in the movie just because? Yes? Yes.
Yeah,
There it is.
that's the thing. It's like, if I'm the bad guy, I don't want to survive. This sends a different message.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And, bad guys lose.
That's right. Gotta go.
Would you work with Kermit the Frog again? That's my question. Thank you.
All right.
Hey! Mad love, mad love. Hello.
Hi, my question is, do you prefer the 80s and 90s over working in the industry in the last decade or two?
Do you prefer working in the 80s and 90s versus the last decade? Which one was the better decade for you?
This one.
The last 10. There we
Movies are
go.
going up and up and up, and more people are getting in. The movies are getting more real.
Mm-hmm.
There's more ethnic diversity.
What was it like voting on Lopez with Lopez?
What's it like working on Lopez and Lopez?
What?
Lopez and Lopez. Did you like that?
Yeah, I love him. Yeah, George is funny. I threatened his life a couple of times.
Sometimes you got.
I called him like, hey, you better hurry up or I'll get in the picture.
Thank you so very much. Last question to bring us all on home. No pressure.
Hello. Okay, this is for a spoiler for the Fallout show, so I'm just saying if you didn't watch it, I don't
Whoa, no spoiler questions.
Okay, can I say it though?
Yes or no question?
There's a location at the end of the thing. I'm hoping it's yes or no. If that because at the location there's a character who you play as in that location, are you hoping to play that character again?
Are you hoping to continue your character in Fallout?
That's a video game.
Yeah.
Why don't
It depends on if they send a check or not. Danny Trejo! You can watch George Lopez right now? It's raining.
Put on speaker.
Everybody yell, hey, hurry up, get Danny on your show.
He doesn't answer. We're gonna get in trouble.
You can hear it.
Hi, thanks for calling.
Hey, George, you better hurry up and call me. Listen.
Put him on the show. Put him on the show. Put him on the show. Put him on the show.
Wait, I'm gonna call a couple.